Welcome to SveNFL.
What is up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins
and Schif Misora.
Two Americans living in Sweden talking about football. Yeah, man. I'm really excited, man. I don't know if you know why.
Why
I be excited. I'm just excited in general for football fans. You know, I just want a good game. I just want a good game.
I can't think of anything unique or interesting that happened this weekend that would cause you to be more excited than normal.
I can't think of anything either besides my motherfucking Dolphins being the number one team in the AFC right now, baby. I can't believe this shit.
It's crazy.
And I have picked against Miami 2 out of the 3 weeks so far. This doesn't mean I'm not a believer. This doesn't mean I'm not happy. They were not supposed to win these last 2 games, and they did. And they look good, man. And we'll talk about it more as we get through the week, man. How was your week?
Mine was also pretty good. The Falcons came home with their first win.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, of course, they tried to lose at the end. But that's what we do.
Who needs good heart health in these days?
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was great. It was great to finally experience a win. We watched the game this week with Saga's new boyfriend over.
Did he pass the test?
He did. He seems like a nice kid.
Oh, good.
He doesn't know anything about football.
Boo! Get this guy out of here.
So
was he interested in the game when you watched?
Totally. He sat there the whole time. I mean, he was there from the early window until about midway through the late window when they decided to go to bed.
He slept at your place?
He did.
Oh, cool, man.
He did.
That's good. Don't send him home in the middle of the game, like sleepy and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, it was cool. He seemed like a nice kid. You know what I mean? Like he seemed very polite and very nice. And
did he ask questions about football?
He did. He asked a lot of questions.
Oh, that's good.
And I made Isak answer them all. I was like, I'm busy watching the game. So if he's got a question, I told him before the kid even came over, I said, Isak, you're going to have to answer all of his questions because I'm not going to be turning away from the screen to explain the game to this kid.
Yeah.
I spoke to him a lot more in the late window when things kind of calmed down a little bit.
Yeah.
There were only 4 games in the late window. So it was a little easier to kind of chat some. Yeah. But yeah, he seemed like a nice kid and he said nice things about us too, which is obviously a good,
About you and Joanna.
Well, just us as a like he had told, like Saga came home yesterday and said that he had a great time. And one of the things that he said is like, you can tell that you guys are like a real family. Like you guys really like each other. Like you're a real enthusiastic and like a really fun unit, so to speak, I was like,
That's
okay,
true.
I was like, okay, cool. That's cool that he sees that. I mean, he might just be, trying to
sucking up.
Sucking up, getting brownie
points. Kiss up to her though. He already got her buy-in,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was a good experience. It was good.
Nice. Well, I had a dude come over, a friend of mine who's from South Florida.
Okay.
And turns out is a Tom Brady fan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Imagine how I felt about that. And he said he was scorned by the Dolphins too much when he was younger and he liked Tom Brady in college. I'm calling bullshit on that. Liked Tom Brady in college. Big FSU fan, too. I liked Tom Brady in college. That sounds like something you made up later. I was like,
Well, also, he did.
NFL scouts didn't like Tom Brady in college. He got picked 6th in the draft, 6th round in the draft.
He wasn't even the starting quarterback. He played like
He didn't play much. Yeah, it's like, come on,
at the time
man.
Tom Brady was in college, they were doing this really weird thing where they would play one. I forget who the other quarterback was, but they would play one for the first quarter, and then they would play Brady for the second quarter, and then at halftime they would decide who was going to play for the rest of the game. That was how Tom Brady's college career went.
It's like, come on, man. Just say that they were winning and you wanted them to win. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. If you wanted to root for a winner, that's all you got to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was over. He still has some like Patriots fandom in his blood. So I had to throw some jabs at him. You know, I'm a good host, but I also can be a little. I can't. People like that, man. When you bandwagons, but he was rooting with us, so at least he didn't hate on us. I would have kicked him out. I honestly would have been like, hey, man, you got to leave. But his team right now, quote unquote, is like the Bucks. I was like, this is one of my least favorite types of fans. This is my guy too. I really like this dude, but it's like, stop, man. But he said he's ready to come back to the Dolphins, who are the number 1 team in the AFC right now.
Of course,
he's a case, bro.
Of course, he's ready to come back.
And I feel like, honestly, eventually throughout the season, Miami's going to regress to maybe somewhere in the top 10. I mean, top 8, maybe. I'll even go top 8, top 7 of the league. Probably make the playoffs, but then you're going to test his fandom.
With all due respect, this dude sounds like the kind of fan who has like a jersey on underneath his jersey, just in case.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But he was rooting, like he was giving us high fives and all that, but I didn't give any to him. That was another thing. That was my protest.
Ask him if he's got a Tom Brady Michigan Wolverines jersey in his closet. Ask him that.
What's your favorite? Who's your favorite receiver from that team that Tom Brady used to throw to? I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Is it DeAndre something?
I know, right? Just throw a DeAndre out there. It's like a 40% chance.
DeAndre, Devontae, something.
But yeah, there was that. But it was a fun week for me. I was really glad. It sucks for my flip 'em pick 'em, which, by the way, shout out to our listener Alfred, who sent us a spreadsheet that I am going to implore you to begin using now because I have updated it through the next few weeks.
Okay.
So if you click on it, you'll see that right now, according to what I put in here, I'm winning 31-19.
What?
That's what I got, man.
How?
That's what I got through the first 3 weeks. This week I won 9-7. I had that the Jets thing gave me 3 extra points.
See, this is why you shouldn't be allowed to keep track of the score. Because you're wrong. I picked an upset in the first game that the Browns were going to beat the Steelers.
Oh, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can put that in. So I'll put that in right here. Boom. And now it's 31-22. See what I'm saying? You got your upset in there. The spreadsheet, you can do that. I love the spreadsheet, man.
But this is why I got to keep an eye on you. You over there.
No, you'll be doing the spreadsheet.
I'm doing the spreadsheet.
Yeah. All you have to do is when we start whenever we do the picks next episode, hop in there, and then it might be fun to guide you through it on air.
Yeah.
So listeners, listening for that.
It's like helping the old man across the street. Let's see how this goes.
But that's fun. Shout out to him, and we can go through the games, man, and see, because I had a really bad week this week.
Yeah, let's
well, not with flip 'em pick 'em, but actual picks, like on Pigskin pick 'em.
Right. I did pretty good actually.
Now let's go through it.
Yeah, Thursday Night Football. How about these Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, you picked them.
29-17. I mean, it has to be said, my Bulldogs, they fucking showed out in this game. Nick Chubb, 23 carries, 113 yards. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. He had a touchdown. He was breaking off just some great just classic Nick Chubb runs where it's like, I would love to, I don't know the stat, but I would love to know how many yards he gets after contact. I mean, he's so hard to bring down the way he bounces off of dudes.
Yeah.
And of course, George Pickens, he only had 39 yards on 3 receptions, but my God, everyone is talking about this catch. Bro, I've been watching it on a loop.
Yeah.
It like when you pause it at the moment where he is at his most horizontal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that shit is like I want it on a poster.
Yeah, but let it not be forgotten that he tried to do another catch like that when he could have reached out 2 hands.
You know, it's funny. I hear
there. He could have had a touchdown there.
I hear that, and I heard other people say that as well. And I watched that clip, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see.
Maybe it reflects on Trubisky.
I don't see in what way, considering where the ball was placed, that his other hand would have actually done him any good. Because if he had gone up, he could have jumped to get up there with 2 hands, but he was so close to the sideline, he never would have landed in bounds. So I don't really, I understand that people have criticized that, but I actually, having been a wide receiver in high school, I can say that I don't see the controversy here.
Okay.
Also, I'm a Bulldogs fan, so you could say that I'm biased, but whatever. Anyway, on to the game. You can say that the Steelers, honestly, they ain't shit without TJ Watt. And you wouldn't be wrong if you said that.
They're looking like a bottom 10 team.
I think I read somewhere that they are winless without him on the field, like 0-6. They're like 0-6 kind of without him on the field.
They won a Super Bowl without him. I'm just playing. He wasn't on the team.
Exactly. Anyway, regardless, it has to be said, Jacoby Brissett actually had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he was actually throwing the ball downfield. It's almost like he took a steroid shot or something. I was surprised.
Exactly. He was very efficient, 21 for 31, 221 yards, 2 touchdown passes. He was good. And you also, the main thought that I had in this game is like, you can't help but think how dumb the Cowboys must feel trading away Amari Cooper for a 5th round pick. I mean, the dude goes off for 101 yards receiving. He scores a touchdown in this game. How do you, in a year where you had this many wide receivers changing teams and the kind of like compensation that teams were getting for wide receivers that are thought to be the same caliber as Amari Cooper, and you just like give this dude away for a 5th round pick? It makes no sense.
I saw something during the Cowboys. I watched the game. I pretty much watched the whole game, the Cowboys and the Giants. I just had to keep fast forwarding. I don't mind. You know, I do it for the listener. But like fast forward through commercials and breaks and stuff like that to try to watch the whole game. So I saw the game, and there was a part that I caught. Sometimes I catch some of the commentary. The Cowboys are the highest. They have the highest percentage of draft picks playing on their team, 71%. And to me, that speaks to the stubbornness of Jerry Jones.
Agreed. Yeah, 99% of the decisions he makes are out of hubris and stubbornness, for sure.
And I think that Amari Cooper trade is a part of that.
Yeah.
He just hurts his team.
Because he's like, also...
I want to do it. I want to do it.
I also say, you know, we talked about this on the phone. You know, there was a funny quote from Jerry Jones this week talking about how he's watching all of Lyle Collins' snaps in Cincinnati, as if he's like throwing shade, trying to say like, oh yeah, I was smart to let that idiot go. He's not good anymore. Yeah. It's like, are you watching any of Amari Cooper snaps, bro? Because he's out here ripping it up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're not watching his snaps. So why don't you just sit down and shut the fuck up, Jerry?
Exactly.
On the other side of the field, you have the Steelers. I'm not going to say much about the quarterback situation. I'm going to save that for my shit got learned.
Okay.
But I will say that you have what I would argue is a pretty talented receiving core that is going completely wasted. The Steelers took a 1-point lead into the half. But in the second half, it was punt, 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 field goal. And then there was that wacky play that they fumbled for a touchdown at the end of the game, trying to recreate the Miami Miracle thing.
Yeah. Shout
And
out to Gronk falling like his knee went out.
I love that interview where he's like, when I looked up and I saw Gronk, I was like, what the hell is he doing on the field? He was like, that's when I knew I was scoring a touchdown. And most of those punts came on 3 and outs too.
Yeah.
They were 1 for 9 on third downs. The Browns ran a total of 71 plays to the Steelers only running 55. I mean, that's...
Well, some teams could win a game even if they do a whole lot fewer plays. Just throwing it out there.
We'll get to that later, but that's obscene. Like has to be one of the most extreme. I want to talk about that later.
Especially with a W.
I've never seen.
Well, let's leave this game, man. Fuck this game. This game was trash as hell. 2 teams that I don't know. I don't know. I'm a hater. I'm a Browns hater this year.
Well, the last interesting thing to say about this game, honestly, is that their desire to hopefully tread water until Deshaun Watson comes back appears to be a legitimate plan. Through 3 weeks, the Browns are averaging 191 rushing yards per game. Yeah, this is how they're going to keep winning football games.
It feels like they should keep at it, too, once he gets there, because he didn't look too sharp. He's been out of football for a while, so stick with it. Don't try to put it on his shoulders right away.
Well, next week they have their work cut out for them. They will be playing my Atlanta Falcons, so we'll see how they manage with that.
Atlanta's going to be spoilers all year, man.
Let's go.
All right, Texans-Bears, another barn burner of 2 elite teams that are – this might have been a Super Bowl preview is what we call it.
Yeah. Bears win 23-20. Man, this was a day to forget for both quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Davis Mills was 20 for 32, 245 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Justin Fields, 8 for 17. This dude threw the ball 17 times, 106 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He got sacked 5 times. Fields did have 47 yards rushing, but I mean, I guess you'd have to say the man of the match really is Khalil Herbert, who was basically the next man up coming in for David Montgomery, who left the game with some kind of a knee injury, I think.
Mm-hmm. David Montgomery, he used to play for the Packers.
Didn't everybody used to play for the Packers?
Yeah, Montgomery played for the Packers before.
One of the listeners put us on blast about this. Everybody used to play for the Packers.
I want to say one thing. I think question for you. Trivia.
Yeah.
Quick trivia.
Uh-huh.
How many completions does Justin Fields have so far this season?
Oh, my God. Let's see. Through 3 games.
Mm-hmm. 3 games. How many completions?
And he has 8 in this game.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
22.
That was a little low. It's 23.
I was close, though.
Yes, very close. Well, I'm impressed because I thought after 3 games you would think with this past happy league that it'll be at least like 40, 23 completions, and they're 2-1. How? I don't know. One of them was a monsoon game, and then this one they're playing the Texans. So I think the Bears will find their place at the bottom of the league soon enough. But 2-1.
Absolutely. Herbert had a hell of a day, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns on 20
good,
carries. This
he used
was
to play for the Packers back in the day.
That's what I heard. I heard that somewhere.
Him. Yeah. He was backup quarterback.
This was a very sloppy game between 2 very bad teams. And in the end, the cream rose to the crop as my man, former Bulldog, Roquan Smith, gets the interception to set up the game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
Pissed off that he didn't get that new contract. Dude decided to play and bet on himself. Roquan Smith out here handling his business, showing him what he's worth. Go get it, Roquan.
Yeah, I hope he gets that money, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then we got the somehow worst team in the league, Las Vegas Raiders. Against the Tennessee Titans. I thought they were going to pull it out. I was like, they can't go 0-3. And they played the lowly Titans, and the Titans, Derrick Henry woke up.
He did. And for the Raiders, these have all been really close games.
Yeah.
really close games.
Shout out to bad unprepared teams. I'll dig into that more. But the Raiders, man, how many delayed games? At least 3.
It's
game.
crazy. You know what else? Speaking of coaching, I would say that it must be said regarding the Titans. I mean, I've been out here just like everybody else, just already sort of writing their autopsy. But Mike Vrabel, he's still got a lot of fight at him.
Yeah, he does.
And I think it's easy to forget how good of a coach he is. I was really impressed and pleased to see how they rose to this challenge to try and terrible start to the year, but hey, let's chip away at this thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, Derrick Henry, 20 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. They got him involved in the passing game a lot early. I don't know if you noticed that, but which was a little scary. He nearly dropped the ball several times.
Yeah.
He's not a very good receiver, but it was fine.
Like
they
ball,
were just
ball real small. Cannot.
Yeah, exactly. He does. It kind of does look like that. It looks like the Hulk trying to catch a BB. It's like he had 6 targets, 5 receptions, and 58 yards receiving, which is good. They got Robert Woods in the game, finally catching balls, 85 yards on only 4 receptions. Derek Carr, I don't know what to say about Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr puts too much of the game on his shoulders when he gets stressed. I do not think that him throwing the ball 44 times a game is a recipe for success for the Raiders.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's like kind of forcing it to Adams a little bit.
Which did not work. Adams only had 36 yards receiving. He had 10 targets, 5 catches, 36 yards receiving.
They're kind of on to you.
Yeah, it's funny that Mac Hollins was their leading receiver. He had 8 receptions for 158 yards and a touchdown. But this thing, I think, we'll talk about it later. But the Vikings showed that they had an idea of what to do when everybody is going to bracket Justin Jefferson, right? And now we need to see that. We need to see that from the Raiders. We need to see that they have a plan B for when Adams is completely bracketed and erased from the game. Like, you need to show that there are other things that you can do besides throwing it to Waller or throwing it to Adams.
Yeah. You know how a lot of these these coaches and stuff, they keep in touch with the old staffs and all of that stuff. So I'm thinking Josh McDaniels, he might reach out to Matt Patricia and see if he can get some tips on how.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's great advice, man. Jonathan. I like that.
That's what I do, man. You want to go to the next game, or you have more for this one?
Well, I just think it's kind of interesting to, like a week after blowing a 20-point lead in a game where they had plenty of chances to snatch up the victory, the Raiders D, you have to say, played pretty well and held the Titans scoreless in the second half, which is what gave them a chance to win this game. But, as we've said, they did not. They're 0-3 with a coach who's been far from impressive. And after Sunday's loss, head coach Josh McDaniels was rather late getting to his post-game interview with the press after having what was reported as a lengthy closed-door meeting with team owner Mike Davis. Which, I like to have a microphone in that room. Right? But it's not a good sign. 3 games in, and you're already in the principal's office.
I heard Mark Davis said,
"No, you done fucked up, Tom." No.
Yeah. Or hit me with that Tyra Banks.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
We don't use that enough, man.
I feel like there was a little more intensity to the meeting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You are trash.
Yeah. Yep. That could have come up also.
Oh, man.
Then next game.
In our fuck your parlay game. In the fuck your parlay game of the week.
We were so convinced. Is that the only thing that fucked our parlay?
Yeah, because we didn't bet the Bills. The two big upsets were the Bills lost and the Chiefs lost. The two best teams in the AFC lost on the same day. It's like, fuck your parlay, man. But I don't think people really wanted to bet the Bills. You never knew what the Dolphins did the week before. But Chiefs, nobody thought the Colts, which helped us, though. We felt like the Chiefs still are going to comfortably win that division. The Colts,
Yes.
we picked to win their division, and it's looking like a rough start for them. Your boy Matty Ice is looking like Matty Water Drops.
Well,
And,
bro, what are you talking about? Matty Ice came through in the clutch for
In the
the
clutch,
upset
yeah.
of the week.
In the clutch.
Actually, to be fair, I think the Colts won this game in spite of Matty Wheels.
Yes.
Because their defense deserves most of the credit for eliminating the Chiefs' run game.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Chiefs, they need to find a run game.
No, but their run game has been great for the first 2
guess so.
weeks.
Yeah, I'm thinking about last year, yeah.
The big difference in this game for me is that Mahomes spread the ball around per usual.
Mm-hmm.
He had over 100 or 260 yards passing, but the Chiefs were held to only 58 total rushing yards in this game. Clyde the Glide had 7 carries for 0 yards.
Clyde the Glide.
0. The Chiefs' only TD came by way of, who else? Mahomes, Kelsey.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan had a rough day in the pocket. A rough day. He took some really ugly Matt Ryan-esque sacks.
Man,
He got sacked
it was just like, I bet you had PTSD watching that.
There was that one too where he dropped back to he got pancaked. It was ugly. 5 times he gets sacked, but to his credit, he managed to throw 0 picks. Now, when he gets sacked that much, he usually throws some picks.
They wrote me off. I ain't right back, though.
That's right. Go for it. You go get some. Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce led the team in receiving yards. A few big chunk plays that helped move him down the field.
Yeah.
But it was the rookie. Colts 3rd round pick, Jelani Woods, a 6'7", 253-pound linebacker, tight end, sorry, from Ellenwood, Georgia, of all places.
Here we go. Stop it.
Yeah. I don't even know where I'll be honest. I don't even know where Ellenwood, Georgia is. I've never heard of it.
You mean neither.
So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know something great about Ellenwood, Georgia. I just know he's from Georgia. Anyway, huge red zone target, 6'7", 253 pounds. How even Matt Ryan can't miss that guy in the end zone. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns. The Chiefs had a chance to put this one out of reach, but they had a 10-play drive that ended with a turnover on downs after a terrible fake field goal pass that went.
That's got to be the worst one I've ever seen.
That was so bad.
I was like, was anybody in a route? Like, it seemed like the holder was the only one who decided to do it.
I know. Oh, guys. Yeah, like he got, nobody else got the same play. They all got different plays. Then on the next drive, Amendola misses a 34-yard field goal. You got to hit that.
Yeah.
You got to.
But that's their
I know. It's their backup. Colts get the ball back with 8.5 minutes left. They go on an 18-play drive, a drive that should have forced the Colts to punt after a Chris Jones sack on Matt Ryan, which turned into an unsportsmanlike flag.
This was bullshit.
Jones said something to Ryan while he was on top of him.
That's bullshit. I don't agree with this, man.
The flag comes out. The drive stays alive. It led to the game-winning touchdown. The ref was interviewed after the game, but he would only say that the reason for the flag, he wouldn't say what it was, but he said it'll be in my game notes. But I haven't seen that yet.
I read the notes. He said the N-word to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was trying to take his helmet off and hit him with it in a Myles Garrett move.
I mean, I would assume that since he was on top of Matt Ryan when he said it, he probably said something sexual in nature, like something about perhaps where he would like to stick his penis in Matt Ryan. Like, I'm going to stick it in your, so I can put it in your mouth or something, or so. I don't know. I'm speculating here.
I think these are athletes competing at the highest level. Something they say should not get a penalty. unless they say something towards a referee, threatening. I think words, even including the N-word. I think if you...
you think we should be able to call players the N-word on the field?
I think
Is that what
if
you're saying?
I'm saying if somebody said it, it shouldn't be a
I said
penalty.
I said we as if I was speaking for all whites.
No, I'm saying it shouldn't be a penalty for words. No. I don't think
So
unless you're threatening a referee, I think
Okay.
people provoking each other with words, as long as it doesn't come to action, I think you shouldn't. Then they're gonna have a list of words that aren't allowed. You know, how far are we gonna go with a referee where he's like, oh wait, is that on the banned word list?
Right.
He said cocksucker. That's homophobic technically. So you know what I mean? Like, how far are we gonna go with that?
Fair point. I'm in favor of just
I'm also a
on
comedian,
record.
so
I hear where you're coming from. I would like to not hear the N-word on the field.
I agree that maybe a fine.
Sure.
Fine them later for a racial act, yes.
Right.
But if Chris Jones called Matt Ryan a racial slur somehow, then you know what I'm saying. If he called him, if they say,
Did you just call him a honky? Penalty.
He said cracker ass cracker. Now you can say cracker, but don't put ass cracker after. It's like if he does something like that. And they define it and say these words are finable, then fine them. But I don't think you should take yards and get the whole team. I don't know, man. They
Right.
swung a game and a bunch of parlays on this.
That definitely happened because it kept that drive alive.
Yeah.
And, like I said earlier, Matt Ryan finds Jelani Woods in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. 24 seconds left. No magic this time for Mahomes. He did have a deep shot that made you think, like, oh, shit, here we go.
Yeah.
But on the next play, he throws the ball that gets tipped by Stephon Gilmore and then picked off by Rodney McLeod. Ball game. Colts win.
Sounds like that Bengals game, right?
Yeah. Special teams loomed large in this game. One of the Colts TDs came by way of a muffed punt. That can't be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
They also got pinned very deep in their own end because of another questionable punt return decision. Sky Moore does not look good in the punt return game.
No,
he muffed a punt and then he let one go that he could have caught for a fair catch, and they got pinned deep in their own end.
Yeah, I saw that. He was worried about muffing again. They should
Exactly.
They should put Tyree. Oh, never mind.
Oh, right. I don't even remember what happened to Tyreek Hill. Did he go somewhere?
I don't know. Jerry Jones traded him
For a 6th-round pick.
Let's go, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
We've waited long enough.
For the second week in a row, the Miami Dolphins upset a top AFC team and become a top AFC team.
This is crazy.
We lost our damn minds waiting on Miami to for Buffalo to erupt and take over, and then Miami wins the game. Man, the 12th man in Miami doesn't get enough credit. Seattle's got their 12th man with that crazy crowd. Kansas City, they got the 12th man. The Patriots, they have the 12th man with the referee teams. And the cheating. But the Miami Dolphins 12. Oh, don't forget Lambeau. You got the Lambeau as they got their home field advantage. Miami Dolphins home field advantage only happens early in the season, and it's the motherfucking weather. Right now, there's a hurricane storming towards Miami right now. Hurricane Ian is about to slap the shit out of Florida. And the reason that is coming so hard is because of the heat. The heat in Miami, and the Buffalo Bills got to feel a little bit of that heat and humidity. And they're also the architects in Miami might be the weekly MVP, because that stadium that puts every week I laugh at the opposing team sitting in the sun while the Dolphins are sitting in the stadium.
It's so brilliant. It cannot be understated how smart it is to have built that stadium in such a way where the Dolphins are in the shade and the away team is just cooking. in the sun.
And it was just an
Cooking like
upgrade. It was an upgrade to the stadium. So it's not like they built it from the ground up. They put an opening in the top, like they and it's just structured it so brilliantly.
So smart.
I love
so
it.
fucking smart.
I love it. So you can see Bills players dropping like flies. Offensive players. Yeah. We alluded to the fact, the lopsidedness of the play calls. Miami was scoring fast when they scored. And you would think this would hurt their defense, but somehow Miami's defense was well-conditioned, and they fought it out, and they just made stuff happen, man. They just made Josh Allen uncomfortable. They watched the running lane, so he couldn't get away that much. He did a few times. He frustrated you at times, but not enough to put a bunch of points on the board. And Miami held that Buffalo Bills offense to 17 points. The funny thing everybody's talking about is the punt at the end of the game, which made you think the game was going to be over because couldn't get not 1 yard on that last drive. The Buffalo Bills defensive line, which doesn't get enough credit, is really staunch and did not allow 1 yard. They tried to sneak. They tried to do it like a little draw. Then they tried a little pass to the flare that was knocked down by Von Miller. It's like there was no way to get out of there. Then the personal protector, as I just found out the guy is called, backs into the punter for no reason. He didn't get pushed back. He just took steps backwards and caught a football in his butt crack. And then Tyreek Hill said next time he's going to catch it because he got strong butt cheeks. But the ball bounces off his butt, goes out for a safety. Some people were suggesting that Miami just take the safety. But Sean was saying it's a bad idea because you take the safety, then they can win with a field goal because that made it 19-21, which became the case.
Because you got to kick it back to the Bills after the safety.
But Miami's punter, Morsehead, hit a 73-yard punt and pinned the Bills back a little bit more. The return didn't go that far because the guy had to run back to get it. Then Buffalo tried their best and ran out of time. The entire stadium was doing a countdown of the clock. It was beautiful.
Me too.
When Miami wins the game, we were jumping around my living room, and we got a new bandwagon fan that joined us in the cheer.
This was the most confusing. This was the most confusing moment of the evening for Saga's boyfriend because when Josh Allen threw that pass, I jumped, and when I realized like how much trouble they were getting to get the ball reset, I jumped up and started counting down, and I ran to grab the headphones for my phone because I was like, I had it right. I was like, as soon as that thing hit 0, I called you. I was like, boom.
You can hear my apartment was pandemonium.
Yeah, and he was like, the boyfriend was like, "What? What's happening? Like, why? Like, why is he freaking out over this?"
Yeah, man, that was nuts. So Miami won, and I'm 3-0, and I'm glad.
This thing about total play. I mean, everything about this game is
90
insane.
plays for Buffalo.
39 plays for the Dolphins, 90 plays for the Bills. Total yards, the Dolphins had 212, the Bills had 497. Time of possession, Dolphins 19 minutes and 20 seconds, Bills 40 seconds. I mean, Josh Allen threw the ball 60 times.
Come on, man.
63 times for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. You would never guess that they lost this game, ever.
He also fumbled the ball. He did. That gives us points right there because we scored shortly after. So then we're back off the field again. You know what I mean? But the defense somehow, some way, stuck it out, man. I can't believe they were on the field so long. And offensive linemen for the Bills were falling down every play, cramping up. Stephon Diggs was out a few plays because of the cramping. It was great. He just kept like limping off to the side, and they're like massaging him and spraying water on him. It looked like a soccer game.
It's insane to think that Josh Allen goes 42 for 63, 400 yards, to a 13 for 18, 186 yards. Yeah. If all you did was look at the box score, you'd be like, how? How did this happen? And
we dropped 2 interceptions.
Yes.
He threw the ball directly to Holland. True. And then, and what's his name? Xavier Howard jumped around. No, 3, because Howard almost got a pick on that last drive too.
Yep.
But then he throws that ball into the ground, and on the 4th down, that was another one. Like, you think they're going to win the game. He throws the ball on a little out route, and it doesn't even make it to the receiver. It bounces.
Right.
And but he was getting his hand looked at. It's like, did his hand
that was a terrible throw. That was
They were looking at his hand later, so I thought he got a cramp or something. But it's like angels in the outfield type thing. And then Tua died for 7 seconds.
Okay, I have a question to ask. So he gets sacked. His head smacks on the ground.
Yeah.
He suddenly looks like a guy who
had a concussion. Yeah.
He looked like he had just drank a whole bottle of tequila. Can't stand up.
Yeah.
But he gets labeled.
And he keeps shaking his head too.
It gets labeled as a back injury.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back into the game.
Because Bridgewater looked like shite.
Yeah, and now we have a little bit of a controversy.
Well, Miami is a very stand-up organization. They've never done anything shady. So there's nothing.
They would never mislabel an injury.
Never stand-up organization. Nothing to see here. Stephen Ross he wasn't even around. He's like, "Hey man, I'm suspended, man." What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Don't look at me.
So here's the thing. Earlier in the game, my personal opinion, I believe that was a concussion, right? I thought this game was basically we're not going to see Tua. Hopefully Bridgewater can do some things. We still have a good receiver core. This is what I was thinking, especially when. But then he walked off. He looked clear-headed, like when he walked off the field to go back to the back and get whatever fucking steroid shot they gave him or whatever. Earlier in the game, he tried to sneak, and the whole pile rolled up on him. And he tries to get up, and he falls down to his knee. Like, he does fall down, and we all got worried. We all, like, holding our breaths in my living room. And then he does take a knee in the huddle, but we were watching him closely. He took a knee, then he stood up, and then we were like, okay, he's walking all right. They used that to justify why his back locked up again. Is what they're trying to say. We all know it was a concussion. And if I were them, I would say he had a concussion. We went through concussion protocol. He passed it. What's the big deal? Why can't they say that?
Well, because I think that it takes the concussion protocol takes longer.
Oh, yeah, because it was only halftime. It was right before halftime. It was like 3 plays.
It takes longer than you think.
Okay.
So I think that's probably why.
Okay, so they're saying. So are they saying they never put him in concussion protocol?
Yeah, to my knowledge, they're saying it had nothing to do with that. That it was just
if that's
his
the case, it's like,
up.
come on, man.
So, whatever.
Yeah. He looked good when he came back out. He looked clear-headed. He threw a fucking dart of a touchdown or a deep pass to set up a touchdown later. Mm-hmm. And Miami wins the game, man. There's nothing to see here. Take whatever fine. Well, who needs draft picks? Who needs draft picks? We already lost it anyway because of Stephen Ross and his shenanigans. Let's go, man.
It's a great win, honestly. It was fantastic.
I'm so glad. I don't think Miami's better than Buffalo. I'm very glad we won that game. We weren't better than New England when Tom Brady was there. We still won half the games he was playing in Miami. We still have a winning record when he came down there. It's just something about our 12th man. Shout out to the son.
The hug at the end of the game between Tua and Josh Allen was almost like the kind of hug that you see at the end of a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Josh, I mean, that was such a weird.
It had to be like fatigue in there too. Josh Allen has said nice things about Tua.
A fatigue, and you could tell that it was, maybe kind of an emotional thing for whatever reason.
And Allen had defended Tua on Kyle Brandt's YouTube show, and was saying he's happy for him. So it could have been that too, man. And it showed that everybody's talking about how tiny Tua is. That's two quarterbacks that he's looking eye to eye when he's supposed to be like 5'7" or whatever they're at. It's like Tua's still 6'1", man. Stop it, everybody. The hyperbole is going in every direction, and I wish
he's 6'1" with a helmet on. Let's be clear about
and
that.
cleats.
Yeah, it's kind of like Kyler Murray.
I'm saying he was looking. No matter what, he was looking. He's 1 inch shorter than Lamar Jackson. I hear nobody talking about Lamar Jackson's height, but that's enough.
That's true. True.
Let's move on to our boy.
You like that? You like that?
How about this? Vikings 28-24 over the Lions. Kirk Cousins pulling the rabbit out of his hat, scoring 14 points in the third quarter to squeak by these Lions. I mean, Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown continued to be a thing in this game, but there was a
Shout
long
out to the St.
stretch.
Brown brothers, man.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah.
But there was a stretch in this game where he was hurt. He did come back later in the game, but his presence was missed for sure. My man, former Bulldog DeAndre Swift, came out of this game with an injury as well.
Yeah.
So that didn't help. He only had 7 carries for 31 yards. They leaned heavily on Jamal Williams, who delivered 20 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He also got a very stupid, unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because of this TD celebration. I guess he was too sexy.
Too sexy.
For the NFL.
It was like, man, they looked at his dick print. They were like, no, that's much. It's too much.
I mean, what is this? The 1950s? We're like worried about, you know,
Elvis.
Are women going to faint when they watch?
2 cheerleaders did indeed faint.
I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Such bullshit.
I mean, you have cheerleaders on the sidelines who were dressed up like strippers, and you're out here worried about Jamal Williams gyrating his hips. Like,
I'm glad you said that, man.
Get the fuck out of here with that shit. That doesn't make any sense.
Detroit defense looks legit. I have that in my notes.
True. Yeah.
It looked legit at first, and then Goff looks allergic to throwing the ball past the first down marker.
Yeah, also a very good point. The other point that I found interesting, which I guess I kind of already alluded to, was how the Vikings were determined to prove that they are not a one-trick pony. Cousins was spreading the ball around the field, trying not to lean too heavily on Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson only had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 14 yards. KJ Osborne was the man for the night. 5 receptions, 73 yards. He had the game-winning touchdown, of course. Adam Thielen had a good night, finally. You know, Irv Smith Jr. was there when they needed him. He had at least one big chunk play, 17-yard reception. Dalvin Cook had a day, 96 yards, but he also left this game with an injury as well.
Yeah, he did.
Dislocated his shoulder, I think.
Oof.
Alexander Madison came in and scored a touchdown. He looked pretty good. Got them within 3 points with 8 minutes to play in this game. From there, the Lions turned the ball over on downs after a 10-play drive.
They kept going for it on 4th down, man.
They got a drive snuffed out on 4th and 1. The Vikings turned the ball over on downs after a 5-play drive. And then Lions kicker Austin Siebert missed a 54-yard field goal. This proved to be pretty much the turning point in the game. It was 1:14 on the clock. You're up by 3 facing a 4th and 4. If you punt...
And you've gone for a 4th down how many times? Like the game, like now you don't want to do it? Now you get shy?
I mean, he had 3 options.
He says this in the press conference, yeah.
He had 3 options. He could have done what he did, try to kick the field goal. He could have gone for it, which if he didn't get it would be essentially like he'd be in the same position that he was in by missing the field goal.
No,
right?
but you're a few more yards down the field.
Sure. But if you punt, then obviously you have them pinned deep in their end. They have a clock to work with.
Yep.
Anyway, he went with the field goal. They missed.
That's probably the worst decision too, of the 3 options.
Yeah, I think the failed 4th down conversion from earlier got in his head. So they turned the ball over after the missed field goal. Vikings have a short field. I think the ball was on like the Minnesota 44-yard line. You put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hands. It only took 3 plays.
Yeah.
Cousins to KJ Osborne, a 28-yard deep shot for the go-ahead TD. That was it. That was the ball game.
Yeah, because you know that there's a plan, like in the script of this movie, is a Goff interception.
Actually, that was the ball game. Yeah, you're going to give the ball back to Goff with 45 seconds. It's like I usually say, it's only going to end with a game-ending interception. I think this shows a lot of maturity for a young coach who managed to figure out what to do when they take away what is supposed to be your greatest offensive threat. Very, very impressed with him so far. And now he flies to London The Vikings have
play the Saints, right?
they play the Saints in London. The Saints are pretty banged up. I kind of like their chances.
Yeah.
To
I
be
think
honest
they're
with
going
you,
to win that. Yeah.
hopefully Dalvin Cook is okay. But if not, it's Alexander Madison seems to be pretty competent carrying the ball, and he was last year too. He stepped in and had some good games last year when Cook was out.
I think, we can talk about the Saints later, but I really think Dennis Allen. I read somewhere that he kind of like temper tantrumed his way into that coaching job.
Oh, interesting.
And it's feeling like this might be.
Was he out here flipping tables, throwing his toys on the floor?
No, he was. He did an impression of the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills when they lost.
Oh my God, I love that clip, dude. It's so good.
Somebody covered the camera like there's no. We don't need to do.
Man, that was an epic meltdown.
Speaking of shitty teams, let's talk about the New England Patriots going. It feels so good. It feels so good to see the Patriots losing.
This one's funny. The final score makes it seem like the Patriots were a lot closer than they really were. The Ravens defense, I have to say, continues to get bailed out by Lamar Jackson and company. This guy, I mean, what are you supposed to say about Lamar Jackson? 18 for 29, 218 yards passing, 4 touchdown passes. He did have a pick, but he also had 107 yards rushing on 11 carries. The dude's averaging like almost 10 yards per carry, and he had a rushing touchdown as well. The 2 touchdown passes to Mark Andrews, one of them was like a thing of beauty, right? Well, actually, both of them. One of them looked like a play that they stole from Eric Bieniemy. You know, the shovel pass. Yeah. They did the shovel pass. That was nice. But the other one, he tosses up to Andrews, who has the dude that's covering Mark Andrews is like basically in his lap. Yeah. And he puts the ball only where Andrews
his catch rate
can
is
catch
nasty.
it.
Yeah.
And to have that focus to still haul that ball in and get your feet down. Yeah. I mean, it was great. I won my fantasy because of Mark Andrews. Thank you for that. Lamar to Duvernay TD pass was also very nice. Perfectly thrown ball. What's the knock on this guy? He's a running back. He's not a good throwing the ball. I mean, but that's what it was originally. You know what I mean? It was like, remember he came back the next year. I know that, but and he had that famous quote where he had a game where he threw like a shitload of touchdown passes, and in the press conference afterwards, he was like, "Yeah, not too bad for a running back, huh?"
Shout out to South Florida.
Mac Jones, not to be outdone, also had a rushing touchdown. Mm-hmm. Looking, obviously he's no Lamar Jackson. I mean, he completed a lot of passes. Put up a bunch of yards, but the dude had 0 touchdown passes and 3 motherfucking picks. Tell me what
I love it. All of the people that were saying like that he was the next, and he just was. It was because of him that they got rid of Cam. I forget his fucking name now. Cam Newton. You know what I mean? Like that just proved that they're ready. They got this guy, and he was average the whole time. They don't trust him to throw the ball downfield. He's throwing it downfield a little more this year than last year when he was check down Charlie. And they're just so ready to anoint him that even when he makes mistakes, they're like, oh, Mac Jones.
I think that he's average, man. He is average, but he kind of he reminds you of Tom Brady to a certain extent, that I think everybody was just ready for him to be like Tom Brady 2.0, so to speak.
Yeah, because he's mild-mannered. He's not athletic. He's confident.
He's a pocket passer.
Yeah, he's a pocket passer. It seems like it matches Belichick.
He's a pasty, boring white guy, all those things. He did have a nice thing.
He's experiencing quicksand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, he runs better than Brady, actually. I saw Brady run.
He does. Yeah. He did have a good thing going with Devontae Parker, who had over 156 yards receiving.
Shout out to Devontae Parker, man.
Yeah, he was good. Patriots had a real shot to win this game after the Ravens what was it? It was like a 1-play drive that ended with a Rashad Bateman fumble. That was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But of course, a few plays later, Mac Jones gets picked off by Marlon Humphrey. Their next possession ended in a fumble that led to Lamar rushing for that long touchdown rush to ice the game. Mac Jones threw one more pick just for fun.
The play before that, the guy dropped a pick and was mad at himself. And then Mac Jones was like, "Hey man, don't be so down on yourself."
Here's
another one.
Let's try that one more time. And to make matters worse, Mac Jones got his ankle rolled up on what was the final play of the game for him. I don't know how bad it is.
It's a high ankle sprain.
It did not look good. Yeah. He was hopping off the field on one foot.
His sad face is whew.
Yeah. If he's high ankle sprains usually take a while. And if that's the case, I would say to Patriots fans, strap in because it's time to ride the Brian Hoyer Express. Let's fucking go. Yeah. So good luck with that. Yeah. Go
then
Ravens.
We got the staying in that division. We got the New York Jets playing against the Cincinnati Bengals. Who picked this one? We're forgetting all about this, man. Oh, actually, I know who picked him because I filled out the spreadsheet here.
Yes, you did.
The Jets-Bengals was picked by me. I chose the Bengals, and I was right.
I think we both believe that this was going to be a get-right game for the Bengals.
It was.
And that's exactly what it was. They finally get their first win of the season against the mighty Joe Flacco Jets. Man, Joe Flacco was bad in this game. Talk about quarterbacks who you don't want to throw the ball 52 times. Joe Flacco would definitely fall into that category for me. 28 for 52, 285 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. Flacco also fumbled the ball 3 times and lost it twice. Trey Hendrickson was a nightmare living in the backfield.
They were all over him.
2.5 sacks all by himself. I think he caused at least one of those fumbles, maybe both of them. I'm not sure. It was, again, perfect get-right game environment for Joe Burrow.
But Joe Burrow was running for his goddamn life a lot of that time. They need to figure something out. It's been 3 years now.
It's still a little concerning. He did get sacked twice.
He was under pressure a lot.
He was under pressure a lot. He did not throw any interceptions, so he's good for him. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins were open all day long. Chase,
especially
again,
T. Higgins, jeez.
Yeah, Jamar Chase only had 29 yards receiving. He did have a touchdown. But again, this was another offense that needed to show that we can do something even when you decide that you're going to try to take away what is perceived as our number one receiver, right? Yeah. You just knew that they were going to have to figure that out, and they did. I mean, the game where Jamar Chase goes absolutely nuclear, you have a feeling it's coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just about being patient. And the Bengals managed to prove that they have other weapons that are also a problem and cannot go ignored. So the only thing that besides the offensive line, well, I guess this is part of the offensive line as well. My one primary concern with the Bengals is that their run game continues to be like just completely
I was just gonna say that.
Not effective at all.
It's not good for Joe Burrow's health, man.
It's not. It's really not. And last year, maybe some people forgot, but Joe Mixon was a huge part of why this team was so successful last year. Huge. And he has yet to have a breakout game.
Yeah. I feel like if we look over in LA, man, you see what a team can be if their future quarterback is hobbling around. And just
yes. Absolutely. Not only that, again, same thing. If your franchise quarterback is hobbling around and you can't get your run game going,
right,
which is the same problem that the Chargers are having.
Yep. It's like people are teeing off on this guy. And Burrow is like, he seems like a pretty like stubborn and like tough guy that he's like, fuck it, bring it. I'm still gonna throw this ball.
Right.
And he's taking hits. He's not like Brady. Brady be like, oh, no, next play.
But at the end of the day, the Bengals, they got the dub against the Jets, who we all knew were a fake 2-0 team. but next week they're going to have to bring their A game
Thursday.
because there is a buzzsaw waiting for them called the Miami Dolphins, waiting to get after these Bengals on Thursday Night Football.
I'm going to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning watching that one. That's going to be fun. You think he's running for his life against the Jets? Watch when Jalen Phillips and Melvin Ingram and Ogba coming after him.
I will be on an airplane
Oof.
while this game is happening.
Hope you get Wi-Fi, man. You can watch it.
A lot of times the plane, you can watch the game on the plane.
Bruh.
So
Let me know if you can watch it. We'll be texting.
if I can watch the game on a plane, I'm going to be stoked. That's going to be great. Yeah. We can move on to the next game. How about these Philadelphia Eagles?
Schif picks the Eagles to beat Washington for some reason, and you were right.
You could call me Skip Stradamus. I could see this one. I saw it coming. I even saw the score, 24-8. Of course, the Commanders was going to score 8 points.
They got a safety.
If you would have asked me last week, I would have said that. I would have said that was going to be the score. This one started out as a bit of a punt fest.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. I'll be honest with you. I actually had a feeling that the Commanders were going to hang in this one and give the Eagles a run for their money. That feeling must have been the hangover I had from the night before because this is not how this game played out. Jalen Hurts took over, and man, did he have a thing going on with Devontae Smith. My Lord. 8 receptions, 169 yards, 1 touchdown, and some seriously impressive acrobatic receptions from Devontae Smith.
He looked like
unbelievable.
Yeah.
AJ Brown was absolutely shredding the slot. 5 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown. Can you imagine the business decision that you have to make when he catches the ball ripping through the slot?
Oh yeah.
And you're the safety who has to go, okay, I'm going to try to tackle him while he just caught a ball in stride at full speed. I'd just be like, you know what?
And Hurts is putting it in stride, like he's leading him.
Exactly. I'd just be like, you know what? The end zone's down there, bro. Just go get it.
That's all yours.
The Eagles D murdered the run game. Antonio Gibson was going absolutely nowhere. He scored a touchdown, but it was in garbage time. Wentz did not throw any picks, I don't think, but he did get sacked 9 times.
Yes.
For a total loss of 58 yards. I think they had 17 QB hits as well.
God damn.
17.
Wentz is probably pissed off at his offensive line.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Yeah. This Eagles.
What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah. This Eagles defensive line combo of Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, and Josh Sweat were raining all holy hellfire down on Carson Wentz's head. 9 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss, 17 QB hits. I mean, they were all over this dude.
Yeah. Washington's looking like they're in big trouble.
The Commanders' first points did not come until the fourth quarter, and it came by way of a safety of all plays. Their total game time possessions, I love it. It's funny when it's bad. Punt, 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 fumble, punt, 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 back-to-back turnover on downs, and then finally a touchdown. Bad day at the office for the Commanders. Eagles are 3-0. They look totally legit on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say.
Well, speaking of legit teams, I chose the Saints to beat the Panthers, and I was wrong. The Panthers actually kind of look legit. The Saints look like frauds, and their coach is still trying to make it to 30% as a professional coach. That might be the problem, man.
Dude, okay, this is very important. Saints fans, you can close your ears, look away,
Give it to
or
them.
find your emotional security blanket that you can hold on to, or ball that you need to squeeze or whatever. Because I'm not going to say nice things about your team. Do not let these 14 points fool you, because it took these Aints until like midway through the fourth quarter to put anything on the board. The only reason this wasn't a blowout is because the Carolina Panthers are an absolute trash football team. Okay. Despite Quan Smith and Chris Olave balling the fuck out, both with over 100 receiving yards, Jameis Winston is dreadful, y'all. Dreadful. The return of Alvin Kamara did not help much either, especially given that fumble. They got scooped up and taken 44 yards to the house for Carolina's first touchdown of the game. These Aints lost to Baker Mayfield on a day where he went 12 for 25, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He sacked him 3 times. Big fucking deal. McCaffrey ran right the fuck through you. Finally got cooking, 25 carries for 108 yards.
He woke up.
Laviska Shenault had the play of the game. What was that fucking shit? 67-yard touchdown grab. I don't know where the Saints secondary was on that one. Look, this Saints defense at times appears to give them chances to win games. But I was not buying this bullshit narrative coming into the year that the Saints were going to be a 10-win team. There were people saying this is going to be a 10-win team this year,
including myself.
I knew that shit was false. Okay, it's obvious to me Jameis Winston ain't it with as many great wideouts as the Saints have right now. This team, more than most, needs to look at itself as being like a quarterback away from being able to take over this division.
Damn, I didn't think about it like that.
Okay, and honestly,
you think it's the quarterback away? I think they're a coach and a quarterback away. And maybe just the coach.
No, the quarterback's got to go. But
okay.
I agree with you. I do not disagree with what you just said. Sure, throw the coach into the mix too. But a better coach and an actual quarterback, a real one, not one that is this fucking terrible. He's awful. And the Panthers, I don't know what to say about them. They get the win. Matt Rule gets to keep his job for one more week. But unless this...
You really don't believe in the Panthers. It's the NFC.
Look, unless this Baker Mayfield experiment suddenly catches fire, which I don't think it will, they look like a 3 or 4 win team to me.
Damn. All right.
The Saints need... I mean, and also, again, they're getting on a plane to fly all the way over to London. They've got tons of injury issues. They've got a quarterback who you can't trust. You've got a coach who does not appear to know what he's doing. You have your backup quarterback playing tight end. They're going to. I guarantee you, they're going to start doing this whole revolving door at the quarterback position thing again. How long is it going to be before Taysom Hill slots in for Jameis Winston?
No, I don't think they go there.
I think Jameis Winston's only like.
That's something that Sean Payton has. Only Sean Payton could do that and be successful.
Yeah, well, it might. He may not have any choice, because if Winston plays this bad, and if he is playing with injuries.
Hill's not better than. Do they still have Simeon, or is it Ian Book?
They might.
They still have those 3, right? Simeon and Book.
I think so. I
don't think they go with Hill.
No.
He can't pull. Dennis Allen can't pull that off.
No.
You need.
I think the Saints.
You need a Bill Belichick, Sean Payton type of coaches to pull that off.
I think the Saints are in trouble. I think they're going to fly all the way to London, and they're going to get curb stomped by the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. Damn. We'll see, man. Strong words, man. I love it. I love the hatred right there. The vitriol.
Sorry, Saints fans. You can start listening again now. We're going to move on to the next game.
Jaguars looking good, man.
But Sean might want to look away for this one. Jesus Christ, the Chargers. I mean,
you picked the Jaguars in this one to win.
I did. I had a feeling that a less than healthy Justin Herbert.
No. You picked the Chargers.
Oh, did I? Oh, never mind. I had a feeling that
think you
Justin
said
Herbert was
that,
going to
but
ball the
you-
fuck out in this game. And I was wrong. The Chargers got thumped by the Jags in their own house. This game was never in doubt. The Jags hung 16 points on them in the second quarter and 15 in the third quarter. They broke an 18-game road winless record, the Jags.
Damn.
Thanks to Doug Peterson and the sleep therapist who he met with the week before they flew out to the West Coast.
Oh, wow.
I saw an interview where he talked about this and how the suggestion from the sleep therapist was when they flew out to LA, all they needed to do was just stay on East Coast time. Like, don't leave early. Leave on Saturday. Stay on East Coast time. So, so they flew out on Saturday. I assume they went to bed very early. I woke up very early, and then they walked into SoFi Stadium and they took care of business. Trevor Lawrence just absolutely dominated these dudes. 28 for 39, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. James Robinson had a monster day, including a 50-yard touchdown run on a 4th and short. That's gotta hurt. You're lining up to try and stuff them with a 4th down, and you give up a 50-yard touchdown run. He had 17 carries for 100 yards. Travis Etienne had a pretty nice day. Zay Jones looked good out there.
Good. Yeah.
Zay Jones looked good. Christian Kirk continues to be the real deal. Marvin Jones Jr., all 3 of those guys caught touchdown passes. I mean, for the Chargers,
they put a good core around Trevor Lawrence when you think about it.
Yeah,
I don't know how they
absolutely.
were as bad as they were last year. Besides having Urban Meyer, it's
Well,
kind of the
they didn't
same
have
team.
they didn't have Christian Kirk.
Oh yeah, no Christian Kirk. Yeah, that's true. He was in Arizona.
They didn't have this complete sort of front seven that they have for the defense. I think they did some rebuilding on their offensive line as well, which is starting to show too. So for the Chargers,
watch out for the Jaguars, man. They might ruin our bet.
I think they're the ones I'm most concerned will ruin our bet. Yeah. Actually, the Chargers need to be spoken of in this game, despite the fact that they only put up 10 points on a day where you have your star quarterback playing with fractured rib cartilage.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you gotta hope that your run game can carry some of the load. They did not.
Nah.
26 total rushing yards.
God damn.
26. Sony Michel had 22 yards. Justin Herbert had 7. Austin Eckler had 5. What the hell is going on with Austin Eckler? I looked this up. Austin Eckler has a total of 80 yards through 3 games. He's averaging 2.5 yards per carry. This is not good.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively.
Brandon Staley, I have to ask, okay, we're not doing a explain yourself this week, but let's say that this one kind of substitutes for it. But I have to ask, what the hell is Herbert doing out there? I mean, I realize the reason why you give him the start, right? It's based on his performance.
Yeah.
You know, with the injury, does Justin Herbert really give you the best chance to win this football game? Okay. And I can understand if you're like, okay, well, let's start him and see how it goes. Fine. But he plays all the way to the end of the game. Okay. He's playing to the end while you're getting the doors beaten off of your own building.
Yeah. I was wondering how long he's going to be in.
Despite the fact that he's at risk of his injury being even worse with every snap. And this is also after they had lost their starting blindside tackle, Rashad Slater, to a bicep injury, probably out for the year.
We'll see. Yeah.
Right? Your veteran center, Corey Linsley, also out with a knee injury. Okay. Staley is quoted after the game as saying that Herbert wanted to stay in and battle through with his guys. But I say, that's not his decision to make.
Protect your players from themselves, man, and the doctor. The team doctor and themselves. Protect the player.
We know what's up with that team, doctor. This defense that is supposed to be elite got completely exposed, especially after they lost Joey Bosa to a groin injury.
Yeah.
Derwin James and Asante Samuel looked feisty early, but that didn't last the whole game. Herbert is the only thing that makes this team special.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Without him, the Chargers are a joke. And playing him all the way through to the end, risking an injury in a game you have clearly already lost, makes no sense to me. None.
Yeah. Agreed. On all fronts.
The Chargers are suddenly dealing with a lot of injuries, so don't be surprised if this team starts to free fall out of playoff contention once again. They're in trouble.
Yeah, they are.
Big time.
All right. Now we move on to the Atlanta Falcons versus the Seattle Seahawks in the game of the week.
You goddamn right. Finally, the game of the week.
Falcons, by the way, and I got that right.
Let's fucking do this. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way first, okay? Marcus Mariota. He's terrifying, okay?
Yeah,
he's like the worst kind of quarterback for the Falcons to have. A team that is already known for blowing leads, and this dude is out here fumbling the ball away at like the worst possible times in the game. He threw a pick in this game too.
He's a habitual line stepper.
Exactly. He throws a pick, but he also gets a rushing touchdown. Mariota is like that roller coaster that like when you wanted to ride it, but then halfway through it, you're like, I want to get off of this right now. I think I'm going to throw up. But it's too late. You're strapped in. There's no way out.
And then all your throw up goes into the people behind you.
Exactly.
And those are all the fans.
Exactly. All the other Falcons fans. Exactly. Okay. So that's my caveat for this game, but he did manage to get Kyle Pitts those targets that he was looking for. He went to Pitts early and often, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 87 yards. Drake London continues to be extremely impressive. I really, really love this. This guy is quickly becoming one of my favorite Falcons. He made a great move on that catch. He caught it at like the 4 or 5 yard line and did that little spin move and then blasted off that one dude to get to the red zone. I was like, fuck yeah. Loving him. However, it has to be said, this motherfucker, Scordarrelle fucking Patterson, Mr. I'm motherfucking back and shit, was a force to be reckoned with. These Seahawks did not know what hit him. 17 carries for 141 yards and a touchdown. Bro, he was electric. Cutting, juking, hurdling dudes. Without him, we would be so fucked, completely fucked, because our defense could not stop a fucking nosebleed. They just couldn't.
But doesn't Geno give it up in the end of the game?
He does, and we did manage to force quite a few punts and held them to field goals a lot of times, but we let them hang around in this game at the end, which, which always starts to smell like a Falcons choke job, no matter how you cut it. The weirdest thing that happened in this game, however, was a 10-minute delay caused by an illegal drone flying into the stadium. All of the players were waved to the sidelines. Everyone's looking up at the sky, pointing, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Apparently, this had happened at the same stadium the day before at a college game. It was like Washington versus Stanford, I think. So I don't know what's going on. And I don't know how do you even, I don't know how they got rid of the drone. Did they send up another drone and like shoot that one down? Or how do you solve that problem? You know what I mean? I don't know what they did. But either way, we came back out on the field. 2 plays later, Mariota fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
Gave the Seahawks a chance to deliver us another embarrassing loss. Seattle had a 9-play drive that got stalled thanks to a holding call and then a sack. And on 4th down, Geno throws one up to Tyler Lockett, but my man Richie Grant went up and picked that shit off for the ball game. Falcons, first win of the season. Let's fucking go.
Congratulations to the Falcons. I'm glad, man. We both walked in here. We both had victory Mondays. It's nice. I'm glad.
It's rare when you and I win on the same week.
Yeah. But all you
in
have
the
to
history
do,
of this podcast.
it feels like all you have to do is just if the Falcons win, because the Dolphins seem to be winning every week. Let's.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna get easier. If you guys keep winning, all we have to do is just win a couple, and All
right. Then we got the Packers playing the Buccaneers. You chose the Packers to win this game.
I feel like we may have skipped Rams Cardinals.
I got it next.
Oh, okay. All right.
But we can do
let's
that.
see.
Whichever one you want to do. Go Rams Cardinals. Rams Cardinals. Okay. I chose the Rams to win this game because I think the Cardinals are a shitty team.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
This was a weird one because the Rams were not great, but they didn't have to be.
No.
Because the Cardinals could only kick field goals.
Yeah.
They're a field goal offense in this game. That's who they are. It's all about getting the 3 pointers.
Get those 3.
They were able to move the ball through the air to Hollywood Brown. 14 receptions, 141 yards. This Dortch dude, who I had never heard of, seems to be quite good. He's going to disappear as soon as DeAndre Hopkins comes back, I would imagine. But the Cardinals had these insane long drives where they just could not get in the end zone. They had an 8-play drive, a 12-play drive, a 16-play drive, a 17-play drive, a 19-play drive. All of them ended in field goals. Kyler Murray was 37 for 58, 314 yards. But again, no touchdowns. None. 0. I don't understand it. I don't understand what Cliff Kingsbury is doing in the red zone that keeps them out of the end zone.
Well, there was one time they were close to the red zone. It was 4th and 4, and they were down 11 in the fourth quarter. And he decided to take a field goal. No. He decided to go for it. I'm sorry. They're down 11. He decided to go for it. I think it was like 7 minutes left. And I wrote that down in my notes, like, what? Kick it, and then you're down 1 score. But then of all the times to go for it, he does that. Then earlier there was 3rd and 2, and they call a back shoulder pass at Jalen Ramsey, who, of course, breaks it up. He was all over the place. He was balling.
He was.
I almost put him as MVP. He was balling so hard. And it's just like, then later they come down and they kick early because time is running out. So then they're like, all right, they got some penalty or something. So then they kick early, kick the field goal, and now they're down 8, and it's no time left really. So like, imagine if they would have kicked it because they didn't convert that 4th down.
Yeah, very interesting. It does not bode well for your team that their only win came
at like a team falling apart.
Well, not only that, but it also came by way of an effort from the Cardinals that I would not necessarily attribute to good coaching.
No.
It was literally just Kyler Murray going nuclear.
Yeah, and the Raiders just fell apart too. Like,
exactly.
It was a combination of Murray and the Raiders. It had nothing to do with Kingsbury.
Yeah.
He was looking bad, man.
To be fair, my man, former Bulldog Matthew Stafford, was not special either. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but he was, at the very least, very efficient. He was 18 for 25, 249 yards. Cam Akers had an average day on the ground, but a really nice touchdown run, bouncing off a dude, getting into the end zone. He also fumbled at the goal line. Which would have changed the score line. It would have maybe looked a little more accurate had he scored that touchdown. Shout out to Cooper Kupp and that sick 20-yard jet sweep touchdown run. That was beautiful. I think that was his first ever rushing touchdown for Cooper Kupp. That was funny.
Did you got to watch the game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you see, like, I felt like Robinson is out of place right now. And I just had this feeling like he seemed like really like their chemistry's not there yet. And I feel like if that comes around, then the Rams can take the next step. But it feels
it's a little. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if maybe there's is there a problem on the offensive line? Is Stafford, does he feel rushed?
It feels like it feels like he's supposed to run 10 yards, but he runs 12. You know what I mean? It feels like that type of thing. If they get that right, they could be a little better.
I did have a close eye on that because I was playing against Allen Robinson in fantasy,
Okay.
and his production really helped me win, actually, because he did not have a good night. Oddly enough, Ben Skoranek was the Rams' leading receiver. I don't know if anybody had him in their fantasy roster. Probably not. You know, he didn't have a ton of yards, but he did have a lot of key first down catches. Like he was like he kind of felt like their version of Hunter Renfrow in this game.
Well, Cooper Kupp is also their first. They got two of them now.
Yeah.
Did you
Aaron
see
Donald
him line up as fullback? And then
yeah.
like paste a linebacker
Yeah.
to open up for a touchdown run?
Yeah, that was nice.
I was like, wow, this is wide receiver.
Aaron Donald got his
my God.
100th sack in this game. He
Nice
is the
one.
fastest defensive tackle to record 100 sacks in NFL history. He also had one really funny, I don't know if you saw this, you probably saw it. There was this really funny play where Aaron Donald just blasted through the line and he dove at Kyler Murray, who, you know how like when like in the summertime when a bee flies all up in your face, you know, and you kind of freak out, you know, or if you, but you also know that like someone who's nearby is looking at you and they don't see the bee.
Yeah.
And all they see is you just like, wah, you know, like Kyler Murray did that. And he almost threw up a pick, but Aaron Donald didn't even touch him. And Kyler Murray was just like, ah.
Hey, I was at home and I threw my shit too. So I threw a glass of beer.
Again, it's very early in the season, but I have to say, I don't know how good I feel about either one of these teams, to be honest.
I know. I feel like I know where the Cardinals are. I feel like the Rams are molding into what they need to be, but I think the Cardinals it's about time to start.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is that the Rams have more wins than losses after not playing too terribly impressive in any of these games yet. So, yeah, but that's the opposite problem for the Cardinals.
Yeah. Cardinals could be 0-3, and they're
probably should be, honestly.
They're a
if you think
crazy
about
game away from being 0-3. Packers Bucks, man, it's supposed to be the game of the week. Turned out to be the meh.
Yeah, Brady versus Rodgers, the meeting of the GOATs.
Two of the bottom five in passing.
Honestly, this looked more like the meeting of two dudes who look ready to like feed pigeons in the park while contemplating retirement. Yeah. What the fuck is going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense?
Well, they're missing 3 wide receivers.
I understand that, and obviously they come in with 2 wins already, but even in those games, it's not like they looked impressive when they had the receivers.
No, that's true,
right?
Their defense has got to be a top 10 defense, and it's going to keep them in every game this year. I'm not that worried about the Bucs.
Yeah, exactly. They had they had this long 10-play drive to start the game that ended in a field goal, but then it was like back-to-back 3-and-out punts, a fumble, and then you're at the half. But for me, the Packers defense was really the story of this game, because after back-to-back touchdown drives to start the game, the Packers offense also got shut the fuck down. Good news for the Packers is that this rookie Romeo Doubs had a very solid performance. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 73 yards. You know Rodgers is loving that. Both defenses, obviously, as you suggested, kind of took over this game. The Packers only had 67 total rushing yards. The Bucs only had 34 rushing yards. Both teams shot themselves in the foot, in the feet with penalties. Packers had 8 penalties for 65 yards. The Bucs had 6 for 40. Aaron Jones fumbled the ball on the goal line. Why is this happening so much this year? That TD obviously would have helped, to make this game seem a lot less dramatic. But again, you know what? It's not my fault that these Bulldogs are out here balling out, because my man, former Bulldog Quay Walker, is out here picking off Tom Brady right before the half. And at the point where he got that interception, the Bucs coaches immediately started hiding all the tablets on the sideline. Dodged a bullet there for sure. The Bucs also fumbled on their first drive out of the half. But Brady got a shot. Brady got a shot at the end, right? You kind of thought he was going to pull it off. He launched this 13-play touchdown drive, made the score 14-12.
Mm-hmm.
Brady threw an absolute dart to my man, former Falcon Russell Gage, for that touchdown. That was a really good
Falcon.
The Bucs, they line up to go for 2. They don't get the playoff in time. Delay a game. Some people say it was a delay a game on the play before that. I would agree.
I'm one of those people.
Brady so the ball gets pushed back to the 7-yard line. Brady tries to go back to Russell Gage, but Devondre Campbell breaks up the pass, and that's the ball game. Now, the thing that I found a little fascinating about this, and I read about this last night, there's this weird mystery in the post-game interview with Aaron Rodgers. He seems to suggest that he saw something on the Jumbotron from the play before that led him to believe that he knew what play they were going to run when they went for 2. And he said, sometimes they show some things on the Jumbotron that they shouldn't show. And I passed that information along to the coaches. And we won the game.
Huh.
And everyone is trying to figure out what he's talking about.
So he's saying that he knew the play because of something on the Jumbotron.
Exactly. He saw the play and he knew what it was. And he's taking credit for their failed 2-point conversion.
Fucking Aaron Rodgers, man. Dude's such a weirdo. But still one of my favorite quarterbacks of this generation.
Yeah, he's funny.
Then we got the 49ers Broncos shit bowl of the week. What did we say?
An instant classic.
Shit bowl of the week.
You got Jimmy G running out of the back of the end zone. Russ is out here cooking hot dogs in the microwave. This is a fucking barn burner. Let's go.
What
happened?
You picked the Niners to win, by the way.
I did, yeah.
We all thought they would win, though.
What happened?
I don't even know,
What the fuck
man.
happened?
It was like the two. How could Shanahan not beat Nathaniel Hackett?
I don't know, man.
I'm lost. I don't know. I was watching. Jimmy G looked bad.
I didn't really track this game that closely. Did he?
I woke up.
Did it look
I woke up Monday morning and watched this game and I was like, I walked away thinking Jimmy G. I thought they were gonna win because of Jimmy G. I was like, okay, they'll be ready. He'll fall right into place. And then it's just like, oh, a reminder. Like this dude, he just seems kind of like blasé.
Did it look like they were still trying to run Trey Lance's playbook, or what happened? Like what?
Oh, good question. No, they still like to focus on the run. That seemed to be their thing. But every time he got to get control, it didn't, like, he was bad. Jimmy G.
I mean, the focusing on the run part went fairly well, it has to be said. I mean, Jeff Wilson had a decent night. He broke off some big runs in this game. He had one that was like almost a 40-yard run, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
And it's not like he was finding Debo, Ayuk. I mean,
it seemed like
were there a lot of penalties in this game?
I don't remember if there were a lot of penalties, but it seemed like their type of game, like that kind of. They kind of roughed it out.
There were, dude. San Francisco had 7 penalties in this game.
Oh, wow.
7 for 40 yards. Something must have killed their momentum. I can only imagine it was probably something like that.
It didn't feel, as I watched it, didn't feel like super penalized, but I guess so. 7 is more than it should be, I would think. The Broncos still looked unprepared.
What I find a little fascinating is that these two everyone was kind of assuming that both the NFC West and especially the AFC West was going to be just the supercharged divisions, and that is not turning out to be the case. Right?
Yeah. I'm surprised that both of these divisions. We were the same way. We were thinking, oh, they're clashing against each other this year. It's going to be crazy. And
Everybody in the AFC West lost this week, didn't they? No, sorry, the Broncos won this game by 1 point.
11-10, right?
What?
Wasn't that the score?
I mean,
the final score?
This is like a baseball score. It's not a football score.
11-10.
That's ridiculous.
Disgusting. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. I just Russell Wilson doesn't look like it's working out. Nathaniel Hackett looks like he's not meant to be. Apparently, he's hired somebody to help him make decisions in what's it called? Game time decision, or like what's it called? Like situational football decisions. Really?
Yeah, I feel like you and
what was his interview? What was his interview?
What I think you and I should get hired to do a job like that.
I don't think he's around after the season. Did they interview? What's his name? Bieniemy?
Bieniemy? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question. No, I agree with you.
They did. They interviewed in January. They interviewed Eric Bieniemy, and I guess his interview went so bad that they went with this guy, Nathaniel Hackett, who's bringing in somebody to help him make football decisions, situational football decisions. He admitted that he's been making bad calls and like he's overwhelmed. Like, what the fuck?
It's not a good look.
Horrible look. Final game of the week was the clash of the Titans. The Dallas Cowboys going against the New York Giants. And I got to watch this game this morning. I woke up and I actually woke up early and I just started from the beginning and fast forwarded through everything. And Daniel Jones is as bad as advertised. He does get in there and make some runs. But Saquon tried his best to help them out, but this dude he just throws like. And another thing, Dallas's defense is gonna keep McCarthy's gonna keep his job because of that defense. The combination of the stubbornness of Jerry Jones and the like Micah Parsons and Lawrence had 3 sacks, I believe, 2 or 3 sacks. Lawrence came out there balling, and then on the third end, we got the interception at the end of the game for Diggs. And we always talk about the 3 levels having a star on it, and they do. Michael Parsons was hair on fire all over the place. He didn't fill up the stat sheets, but you could see his impact on the game. And that right tackle of the Giants had no clue what was going on, and was basically a turnstile. Whoever was over him was getting right at Daniel Jones's feet every time, and Jones was just like, it's like he doesn't look up when he steps up in the pocket. It's like whenever he has to step up in the pocket, his eyes immediately go down, and he loses all contact with everybody. Does anything happen, and is all in self-preservation mode. He's so bad. I felt bad for Giants fans, especially when you have somebody like Saquon Barkley on the team. That number 3 receiver, I forget his name. He was good. They have a young receiver that was out there balling.
Was it Sterling Shepard?
Oh, he's not young then. Oh, he changed his number.
I don't know if that's him though.
I think it is him. Yeah, they were saying it. Yeah, he was. I'm scared to say the wrong thing now. He used to play for the Packers though, but it was Sterling Shepard. He's got some pep in his step considering he's been around for a bit. But they were trying to get what's his name, Galladay. But I almost wrote off CeeDee Lamb in this game. He dropped a huge bomb.
I heard,
dropped another pass later, and I was like, I had this whole narrative about Jerry Jones and the stubbornness, trying to make. First, it annoys me because they start the game with Ezekiel Elliott running into the back of people, and then they let Pollard run, and his first run he busts off like a 40-yard run or something crazy. Then
Tony Pollard is still the leading rusher in this game, 105 yards rushing to Zeke's 73.
Yeah, so it's like that's good that they ran enough to get all of these yards, but like, why are they leaning on Zeke so much? Then this guy Brown obviously has Noah Brown has this good chemistry with Cooper Rush, and I'm like, man, Noah Brown, he's going at Rush. They're comfortable with each other, and then they have to force it to CeeDee Lamb, and he's dropping the ball. But then he came up big at the end of the game, so I was like, oh, well, I guess I can't have that whole narrative of the stubbornness of Jerry Jones making it. Because I can see if Jerry Jones saying, hey, you got to throw the ball to C.D. Lamb at least 4 times. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And McCarthy will probably go with it because he's a lame duck coach right now.
Well, they threw it to him 12 times. He only caught it 8 times for 87 yards. Like you said, he dropped a couple big
at least
ones.
2.
But he caught the one that mattered in the clutch for the game-winning touchdown. Great one-handed grab. I saw that. And the Cowboys, they have to be pinching themselves because this Cooper Rush experience is working out far better than most people predicted.
Yeah.
He ain't great, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
When he throws it bad, he throws it bad away from the defense. And that's all you can ask for.
And like you said, this defense is going to always give them a chance to win football games as long as the quarterback just needs to be serviceable, and that's what they have. I'm hearing crazy reports that Dak thinks that he might actually be back and able to play next week.
Don't do it, y'all.
Who
do they play next week?
Cowboys next week are playing.
They play the Washington football team or the Washington Commanders. So
I think you can beat the Commanders without Dak Prescott, which makes sense. Like if you want to be worried about a team, like I honestly would keep him on ice until
they play the Rams week 5.
Maybe until the Rams game or the Eagles, because I don't know, that Eagles game, man, you're going to need something special to win that game. So maybe, I don't know. I hate the idea of.
The thing is, if you beat the Commanders,
I
mean, you're basically playing for the wild card right now.
Yeah.
And the NFC is so weak. It's like, let Dak heal up, lean on your defense, and play like you're playing now.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be all right. You're going to win next week against the Commanders. You'll probably lose against the Rams with or without Dak. But you don't want to have a hurt Dak out there.
I'd say just keep him on ice until you play the Eagles.
Until he's healthy.
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying, like, if he's healthy enough to where you think he can play against the Commanders, what's the harm in giving him 2 more weeks and playing what could arguably be one of your biggest games of the year?
Yeah. Yeah, week 6, man. We'll see what they do, man. It's up to Jerry because he's going to make McCarthy do whatever he wants.
Ugh, whatever, dude.
Yeah, man. But you won this week. You won 10-9.
Let's go.
You don't have to count it up because I got the spreadsheet here, buddy.
Nice.
What did you have? Do you have the same thing?
I think so.
Okay. I don't want to be okay. Good. Your gamble wins, man. You did it.
Mm-hmm.
Your underdog pick of the Browns. Good job.
Yeah, nailed it.
Somehow they were underdog. All right. We can go into the superlatives this week. Who's your real MVP, or should I go first? It's up to you, man.
I'll go first. I have a feeling. I'm going to go 218 yards, 4 touchdown passes, plus 11 carries for 107 yards and a rushing touchdown. It's got to be Lamar Jackson out here adding zeros to that next contract. And the first QB in NFL history to have back-to-back games with 3 or more touchdown passes and over 100 yards rushing.
Oof, Lamar Jackson.
You the real MVP.
This is his 7th career game with at least 200 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. No other player since 1950 has done this in more than 3 games.
Wow.
Dude is one of one. And if he keeps playing like this, he might actually be the league MVP.
Nice. I like that. I'm going to say, surprise everybody, Miami Dolphins defense. Counted out all the way. Everybody was predicting a shootout. The over is all over. You know, they're going over. It's going to be 56 points in this game. And Miami Dolphins defense held the Bills to 17 points. The Bills, who are out here putting 40 burgers on teams on a regular basis, most 40 points in the than the last 2 seasons in history or some shit like that. And they held them to 17 points. They sacked our boy 4 times, Josh Allen, made him fumble the ball, which put Miami in position to score, and held them in the end on a goal line stand. Dropped a couple interceptions as well. So I'm going to say Miami Dolphins defense.
You the real MVP.
They probably laid a blueprint, too, for other teams to follow. Oh, you need that talent. And they're missing some players, too, on defense. So shout out to that. That's what I said was MVP. Not biased at all. Who's trash? You're trash for the week.
For me, my trash is just this entire Sunday night football game. The whole thing from start to finish was just an embarrassing, smelly pile of trash. Again, Jimmy G stepping out of the back of the end zone. Dan Orlovsky was loving it every minute of it.
Yeah.
He was like, his name immediately came up. For those of you who don't know, Dan Orlovsky was famous for having stepped out of the back of the end zone.
No, he scrambled like 5 steps across the back.
His was way worse than Jimmy G's for the Detroit Lions many years ago. But he had a funny he tweeted out freedom. Like, I'm not the only one who's done this.
He
now,
said like
basically.
stay off my lane or something like that, right?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
Mark Sanchez said that with the butt punt.
Oh yeah,
because he had the butt fumble.
Yeah, and of course, the situation with Russell Wilson out here cooking hot dogs in the microwave is just fucking pathetic piece of shit. But with both of these teams, this game, I mean, that's your Sunday night football game. That's supposed to be like your flagship game of the week. It's like, oof,
Yeah, man. Sunday night
awful.
football.
You are trash.
For me, I'm staying with that game, and I'm just going with one player, Jimmy Garoppolo. You're out here untradeable. Staying on the team just because nobody wanted you. You get a chance to come out here and show that they did the right thing by doing the wrong thing. And then you come out and you show that as soon as Lance is back, you're out of here. So this is his chance to get a good contract. And he's blown it already by doing something like accidentally saving yourself from a pick 6 by stepping out of bounds for a safety. Come on, man. Jimmy G.
You are trash.
Shit got learned. Go for it, man. Or I can go. I got 2, actually.
Okay, well, you got 2, so I'll go first. Mine's short. As much as I love Mike Tomlin, I have learned that his pride is the only thing holding him back from making the switch to Kenny Pickett. I actually think it might take a Trubisky injury for it to happen at this point. And if it does, I really hope the camera cuts to Tomlin on the sideline because he's going to be saying, "Oh, thank you, Jesus."
Never say never, but never.
And since I know he's listening, I want to say, I know what it's like to admit that you've made a mistake, Mike. I really do. I've made some mistakes in my life. And the bigger man will step up and say, you know what? You're right. Mitch Trubisky is trash. We got this rookie. We need to see what he's made of. We got all these great receivers. Somebody's got to throw him the ball. And it's time. It's time. I think it's time. It's time to make the switch.
Yeah, he proved how stubborn he was by having Big Ben playing all the time. When it was time to move on. Never moved on. Yep. All right. I have 2 things, man. First thing is flopping has arrived in the NFL.
Oh, bro, yes. I forgot about this play. Go on.
As if the offense doesn't have enough protection. I saw guys rolling around a little extra trying to milk out a penalty. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Joe Burrow all tried to get calls on Sunday. Thankfully, none of the acting helps, but this is not a good look. Eventually, they might start rewarding the flopping like they do in the NBA and in the other football. The referees already have a tough enough time with calls that can be challenged. Why make it harder for them by flopping? Especially when you can't challenge a penalty. They need to focus on this shit right away because before it becomes a major part of the game. This shit is really getting on my nerves, man. Now
Bro,
I get acting like you got hurt to extend the clock or whatever at the end of the game. Well, you get desperate like that. But these quarterbacks, man, it's already hard enough with the extra rollover. Like,
I'm so glad you brought this up because that Mac Jones flop was the one that pissed me off the most because it was so obvious. It was like, I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? That is not, do not make that a thing in the NFL. It's the reason why I don't watch soccer that much anymore because I just got so tired of it. Like, I just like, I was like, I can't.
And they get rewarded for it. And I think that's why they do it. NBA too. They're getting rewarded for it. And I feel like you should get a delay of game or unsportsmanlike conduct. I mean, unsportsmanlike conduct, that's 15 yards. So maybe not that, but maybe even have a new thing called diving or flopping or something like that. But they got to get this corrected before it starts being a thing.
And it's hard, man. It's hard on the referees too, because it's like, the game's happening at 100 miles an hour. It's easy to miss. But good point, man.
Yeah, that's my one thing that I got learned. And then the other thing, which is kind of obvious, is there are some really bad coaches that are employed right now. Simple shit's getting missed. Maybe there's more to prepare for these days with these complex playbooks and whatnot, but it's overwhelming or something. I don't know. But there's an abundance of bad situational football out there every week. Bad/dumb challenges, stupid fourth down attempts, stupid field goals, delay of game penalties, illegal shifts and formations, just plain bad football starting from the top, the head coaches. And I know the whole thing about 20/20 hindsight, but some stuff is just standard football stuff that's getting missed by these professionals getting paid a lot of money. And that's what I learned this week is like there's some bad coaches out there.
Good point.
I don't know, man. It was a little. I watched every single game this week. I tried to every week, but sometimes it was just hard. Like, really? How many delay games? I don't know if I've seen this many delay games as I did this week. And that's just like, come on, man. You got 40 seconds. Quarterback not having a clue that it's like the coach not wasting timeouts. Miami too. I'm not saying that my team is not guilty of it either. It's frustrating.
Very.
Or like having to like do a play because the clock's winding down, and they're like clapping, trying to get the ball snapped in, and they're just it's a waste of a down. Scariest AFC team. Who you got?
Scariest AFC team. I got Dolphins. I don't necessarily think they're the best AFC team.
Right.
But I do find them to be the scariest. Like I do, like the way they've managed to win games, the way that this rookie head coach has got them playing. I'd be scared to play this team. I feel like they've proved themselves to be a very intelligent and talented football team that can hurt you in a lot of different ways. They're my scariest.
Yep, I have to agree. I said this. I was trying to find a different team because I didn't want to look biased, but it's actually the scariest team. Is the team that you don't know what's coming, and the speed on both sides of the ball of this team is scary, and the fact that it looks like no lead because of that Baltimore game is like no lead is big enough because of the speed of the team. So, and they seem to be well coached and prepared. So we'll see if it continues this way, but this week, the scariest team is Miami Dolphins in the AFC. Who you got with the NFC?
I got the Eagles. I mean, I know they beat a mediocre football team, but I have to say, you look around the NFC, we've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, a kind of a none of the above approach. This is the only team that I don't have any question marks about. It's the only team that just doesn't. They just seem to be complete at all levels, both sides of the ball. And Jalen Hurts is playing his ass off. And Mr. Each and every one in the building has really figured out how to make this team like just incredibly scary to play against.
Yeah, man. Looks like we got two undefeated teams, and we both agree for the first time I think ever. Well, we say both. But I got the Eagles as well. I think Hurts looks like the truth. You can see his confidence now, and the team believes in him, and that there's chemistry now between the entire team. Like it's like they're flowing together, man. Each and every individual is real. So
For real. Yeah.
yeah, I gotta agree with you on the Eagles. Man, this is the longest episode we ever done, man.
Is it really?
Yeah, man, we're almost 2 hours. That's how
Jesus.
good it's been, man. Thank y'all for checking this episode out, man. This has been real, and now it's time to move on to the next. Thanks for checking out this episode of SveNFL. It's been Jonathan Rollins
And Schif Musara.
and we will catch y'all very soon as we talk about the predictions for Week 4 of football. So we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Later, y'all.